Well, aren't you special? I'm so sweaty. Oh, okay, okay, good. OBS didn't crash, good. Okay, okay, good. Okay, we're still good. Target spotted. I just got here. Let me say hello to everyone and thank you. Um, hello, June, welcome in. Thank you for getting first. Also, wait, let me put on, because I've been drawing so much, I haven't developed carpal tunnel, but I have been having issues with my hands, so I need to make sure that I wear my little art glove. But hello, Dune, welcome in. Thank you for getting first. Hello, Metal, welcome in. Thank you, people, welcome in. Hello, Only Features. Hold on. Excuse me. That time I had a burp. I'm sorry. Hello, Only Features. Thank you for renewing your toilet pass for another month. Congratulations on living. I'm happy to be alive. Hello, Worm, welcome in. Hello, Saga, welcome in. I read give me and my brain autocorrected to give me birthday gifts. You guys have already given me quite a few gifts. I think the only other gift I would want is like I mean, there is stuff on Throne, but most of the Throne stuff are just like for fun, just goofy stuff. But I think the only thing I would actually like need for stream would be the VODs, external hard drive, just to store VODs. Can I let me finish saying hello to people first. Hold on. Hello Neil, welcome in. Music is good. Okay. Hello Kiji, welcome in. Hello Muku, welcome in. Sweaty am I, you say? Joking. Yeah, I'm sweating. Serious. I got a bathroom pass. You did. Cheese and rice. Cheese and rice. What does that mean? But Kiji, thank you for giving another 50. Another one. 2. Durzo braids. Nimbus. My Adam Muffin. The real Femboy watcher. I'm not a Femboy. Insomniac Grim. His name is Chunky. He's dead. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Hello Moonwalks. Give it a toilet pass to Awesome Guy 8835. DJ Ray, Chibi Vamp, CPZ, Nuku, Mizu, Lycon, Rune, hello Rune, K, TST 100, Hectop, 4 Cow, Honeybell, Squishy Bill, Agogi, Lee Wayne, 700. Wait, let me catch up first. 757. Vivian Flowers. Evie. 99. Oregon. Mooney. Dun 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 Patchy. Meadow. Coffee Flower. Erin G. Yuka. Sparkle. Sibi. Sibigato. Ruku. Neil. Gato. Wait, I'm losing pace. Bot Nan Sprout? Static Mia. Hello Mia. Cosmic Q. Skyfall Valentine. Cookies. Hello Cookies. Potato. Leo. Cyberbully Online. Please don't do that today. Today's my birthday. Don't bully me today. Radical Rich. Kurt Burt. Welcome in. Estrel. Welcome in. Jacob Hospital. And J Cool 64 for the first batch. You're not a femboy with that attitude. I mean, at some point I do want to redo the femboy model, but not quite yet. I haven't made a design that I like quite yet. Why are we at a level 9 hype train? Also anonymous, thank you for giving a totally pass to Lillian Daw. Hello Fresh. Flesh. Sorry, I was like, the company? Hello Flesh. Myrmidon, hello Myrmidon. Casanova that guy, Golden Blood, hello Golden Blood. Cure Claire, Rooster Cog Born, Nutritious Milk, Moon Sleeping, and Mad Dog, hello Mad Dog. So hello people, hello happy, welcome in, welcome. Happy birthday, thank you. Now that I'm caught up, I don't think the alerts will catch up for a bit. Let me lower the volume on the alerts for a bit. Just slightly. So we can do things. Don't you guys want to see things? Don't you guys want to see? I have several things to show off and announce. So please, hanging tight. Let us start. I would like to see things. Oh, what the fuck are those? There's two titties at the top of the screen. What the fuck? Why are they so long? There are two long titties at the top of the screen and they're shiny. Been waiting all day to say it. Oh, thank you. Thank you guys for saying happy birthday in the Discord, on Twitter, on Blue Sky, and in chat today. Thank you. I I don't know what to say. I know you say like when someone says happy birthday, you say thank you. But I'm like, is thank you too like boring? Like saying thank you to everyone. It's like shouldn't I don't know, I wanna do something. I wanna do something. Oh, you have like a different badge now, Kiji. Oh, you have like a gold present badge now. I'm cracking open bourbon aged stout in your honor. Ooh, that sounds good. I'm still keeping away from alcohol. But I did have deep fried Oreos. I did. Oh, I forgot to turn off the. I forgot to turn off the bot that says, if you would like to play Arknights Infield, you're free to though. You're free to. But let me get down here. Oh, those aren't titties. What the, get my hopes up. I thought they were titties from that one gym leader in the Pokemon Saga. The fairy type gym leader, I think is what she is. Am I letting the dogs out? The dogs have always been out. They've always been out. There's something I was going to say. What was it? Oh, if you'd like to play Arknights, you're free to. You're free to. The grippers. Yeah, if you want to play Arknights Infield, and if you want to touch that little link over there and install it, it'd help me out because the thing ends tomorrow. Happy birthday. Hello, Coelacanth. Welcome in. How you doing today? They're barking. They ain't barking. They're silent. They're quiet. I guess there's nothing interesting here, huh? I guess if someone has like a knee fetish, they can look it up. They can look at my knees. But otherwise, I don't think there's any content here. Sorry, guys. You gotta go higher. Oh, thighs. I need to adjust the pants. It looks like I have like a line going down my crotch. It's not supposed to be like that. This model is a work in progress, by the way. Obviously, I didn't finish coloring the hair and a few other parts. Those calls could use some work. Calls? Oh, nice pants too. Thank you. Thank you. Higher. Oh, the money shot. Dude, you got thighs? You got... Oh, calves. Ah, okay. But I like the calves that way. I like them when they're like just slightly meaty. Just ever so slightly meaty. The money shot, yeah. Boobs. Hello, Empty Bart. Empty Bart, since you're here, I can say thank you for the throne gift of the Chikawa Usagi in lettuce, or maybe it's in cabbage. But the baby Usagi. And I said this on Twitter and in Discord, but if anyone buys me a gift, I will add a character or VTuber with the VTuber's consent into my Tomodachi Life game when it comes out. So Empty Bart, if you have a character or VTuber that you would like me to add to the game, please let me know. Either in the Discord and chat right now or some other way, okay? Boo! Scared myself. Why would you do that? Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you do that? Oh, Kawa. Happy birthday. Hello, Fane. Welcome in. How are you doing today? Welcome. Radical boost miss. I know who to go ask. Uh-oh. Yeah, make sure you get the VTuber's permission first because in Tomodachi Life, the characters get crushes. They get married. And some VTubers might not be comfortable with that. Even as like a little joke, some VTubers might not be comfortable with it. So be sure to ask them first. Lock Choker goes kind of hard. Really? I thought it was just cute. Hi. This is the low resolution version of me because the program that I'm using, it does not allow for canvases that are above like 2000 pixels. So let me zoom out actually. Hold on. And then we will try to get like a better resolution. Ooh. Why hello there. Why hello. Like I'm so shiny. Again, this is a work in progress. I still need to do shading on the sleeves, and I need to do shading on the hair. And then there was something else I needed to edit. I can't remember what it was. Hello, Silent Coast. Welcome in. How are you doing today? Welcome, welcome. But we have this, and then this is the cropped version, which is closer, slightly higher resolution, ever so slightly. I need to make it so that I'm not bouncing. There we go. Hello. Oh, thank you for the Bamboo keyboard. Thank you. Keycaps. I am going to build those on stream. I don't know if I put it into the little description, but I will be building them on screen as soon as I figure out like what keyboard to put them in. Yeah, I saw the message. Okay, just making sure. As soon as I figure out what keyboard to put them in, because it doesn't come with the keyboard and it doesn't come with the key parts. I don't know what they're called. I'll figure it out. Gonna eat some Domino's pizza. I had Pizza Hut earlier. Hello, Carlian. Welcome in. How are you doing today? Welcome. Hello, Kit Kat as well. Welcome. Put some pants on. No, I do think it's really funny that this crop looks kind of lewd. Yeah, I think I don't know if that's is it the keycaps that makes it clacky, or is it something else that makes it like the clacky sound, the nice like ASMR chunky sound? But we have this. Hold on, let me fix myself. There we go. The switches. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to do some research after stream. Put myself over here. The crop leaves a lot to imagination. Yeah. Doing good, working at a con, denied dying. That's been me for these past few days. So I finished, well, I didn't finish. Again, I still need to work on this model more. Well, this mock-up, this image is not an actual model to be rigged. I worked on everything that you're going to see today, in like less than a week. Smiles. I was going to do, a costume reveal. I was going to do birthday today, trial tomorrow, like Am I the Asshole trial tomorrow, and then Monday would have been a costume design reveal. But I have been so tired from this and also some IRL things that finally got settled, that my sleep schedule has not been consistent for this entire week. Like, even though I go to bed and I kind of get sleep, I'm not sleeping at like the same hours. I might go to sleep at 3 a.m. I might go to sleep at 8 a.m. I might go to sleep at like 2 p.m. And so it's just been like that for a week. So please appreciate everything that's going to be shown today. And also I'm going to go on like a 2-day break after the asshole stream tomorrow. I've been playing the shit out of Monster Hunter S3. What's the S for? Is that the new one that I've been seeing? That's like very cartoony anime like. I've been pokeing my pedia. Take it easy as you can. I have. I will. You have plenty of rest. I will. But I'm going to be moving that cheerleader. Oh. I mean, I think I already said what the costume was before on stream. But I'm going to be moving the cheerleader costume reveal to another time. Pokeing my Pia. Oh, the game. Okay. Yeah, to be fair, even though I worked really hard this week, I did re-download Fortnite, and I did buy a skin. and I did think about getting the battle pass because there's an emote. Look, there's an emote that's really, I had to get that Suisei. I didn't buy Suisei. Sorry. Hold on. Fortnite. I got this character because I wanted her when she came out. But I was like, I don't think I can buy this right now. And then I saw her and it was my birthday and I was like, oh, this must be fate. Then you re-released on my birthday. So I just, yeah. Oh, that's wrong. There we go. You didn't get Suisei? I thought about getting her emo. The this wolf girl. I'm sorry, I'm easy. Puppy girl. fall into the old vices. That's the devil talking to you. See, I wanted this skin, and then I also wanted, hold on. Huggy Wuggy Fortnite. But it needs to be like a gift. There's a specific gift of Huggy Wuggy from Fortnite, where they're like very diva. I wonder if I can find it. Chiff. Oh, I think I'd have to like download it from Tenor. And my computer is already screaming. Huggy Wuggy Fortnite. It's like, I think it's like a Sabrina Carpenter question mark emote. And she's like walking down and taking selfies. Hello, so welcome in. Welcome, welcome. At least that means you can try the Michael Jackson horror game at Fortnite. The what? Of course you get the Wolf Girl over national icon, Suicide. I mean, Suicide's still in the shop. When I played Fortnite, I think it was like 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. So I think the shop was going to refresh soon. So I was like, oh, the shop is gonna refresh, so I might as well. What the hell is happening here? I can't believe you are a furry. I used to be a furry. When I was younger. Okay, throw the Suicide on the throne. I don't know how much he is. And not the $300 statue of Tamaki? You're joking. That's my Oshi. He's literally my background. One of my screens is OBS and my other screen is Tamaki. Oh, a Suicide? I don't have any Suicide figurines on my throne. I don't know how much he is. I would have to open Fortnite or Google how much he is. But if I get her, I want the Sabrina Carpenter or whatever that lady is, 25 V-Bucks. How much is that in freedom dollars? You're like, yeah, V-Bucks. I don't know how much that is. You think I play this game? You think I do anything except put money into this game? Fortnite Battle Pass. Alright guys, here are some other announcements. We have more things. So here's the actual mock-up of the model, without the like filters on it and like higher resolution, so it's not shitty looking. Yeah, you can see the quality difference slightly. I've never downloaded Fork Knife. There's that. We have, hold on. Oh no, my OBS is already screaming. Reference sheet. We have a reference sheet now. Oh, actually, let me post I can post the model on Twitter now. Even though it's like a work in progress. Let me do that real quick. Oh yeah. I just opened up a stream. Ah! I'm sorry, I had Fuamoka's, voice is going out. I had Fuamoka's stream open. Or an elite choice, of course it is. Also, hold on, let me post this real quick. Post about the model, I mean. I hope it works. The video duration you tried to upload was too short. Okay. Let's try this then. Since Twitter hates me. Twitter hates my ass. Oh. Also, I should clarify, I have the mystery game running right now because every time I open mystery game, it's kind of janky because it's an older game. I wonder. Okay, hold on. Hello, Bog. Welcome in. How are you doing today? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I like the back muscles. I like that little muscle part that's underneath the shoulders. Oh, and then there's the sea slug form too. The absolute unit. And then there's more dogs. I thought about covering them up, but I was just like, I'll leave it there for people that want that thing. Oh yeah, I don't know if people realize this. Hold on. My ears are like pointed slightly, and you can see like the little piercing hole slightly. The little piercing hole for my ring. Ever so slightly. It's not necessary for any fan art or anything. I just think it's cool. Alright, let me post this. Post this to Blue Sky. It's Twitter. Okay. And then post this to Blue Sky. Oh, my computer is screaming. Titties so big you can see them from the back. Don't say it like that. I thought the things on the top of your head were your ears. They're my antennae. They're antennae. So you see on my sea slug form? The little things poking out, those are antennae. I use those to taste and feel and touch and smell and various other things that are safe for work. Please be clean today. Please be clean today, everyone, including myself. Okay, and then let me post this to Blue Sky. Hold on. I don't have time to put alt text. I'll do it later. I'm sorry. No, this one. 20. I think this is a 2021 model. $20.26. Maderu. Okay. I hope Blue Sky turns your PNGs into like not transparent. Scrubbing myself now, that's right. Clean yourself. Alright, so we have a reference sheet now. We also have, hold on, let me make sure this, okay, it uploaded fine. It's transparent, but that's fine. So you see the fancy cloak that's seeing you without it feels strange. It's like naked. It's naked. Oh, here, this one isn't on the reference sheet. I can show it to you guys. Where is it? So because I'm going to be using that, this is a mock-up model and I will be using it for like future content. There is like a nude version. That's just this. So if I ever want to make like a new costume, is this okay? Maybe Twitch would be upset with me. There's nothing showing though. Dress up doll. Yeah, it's basically a dress up doll. Oh, my voice. Yeah, it's a dress up doll. For whenever I need to make a new costume, I can just draw on top of it. And loving the increased detail. Feels amazing to see. Thank you. Years of work. Should be fine. You sure? I already deleted it though. It should be good. Okay. I'll put it back here. Boop, 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 boop. Whoa! Okay. It's a mannequin. Yeah, it's a mannequin. So whenever I need to make a new costume, I just draw on that. That's what I did for the diner outfit as well. If you saw... Oh, I think something happened when I tried to upload the diner. When I tried to upload this. Hopefully nothing happens. Okay, we're good. Yeah, so you can see this, the rough of the diner outfit was used for the base for this was used for the diner outfit. Speaking of diner outfit, I got this in my DMs today. What's new, pussycat? I got some art from Berries. Berries wished me happy birthday at like 3 a.m. in the morning. I think it was 4 a.m. for Berries. Yes, Berries true diner am I. How's Evan? Welcome in. How are you doing today? Welcome. Please go check out Berries. I love Berries art. Shiny. I love like berry texturing and shading. I love. Additionally, I got a skeb. I asked you guys before, I'm finding you. I'm good. Why is she sweating? She's sweating? There's no, oh wait, there is sweat. I don't know. Hard, I'm working hard. That's why she's sweating. She ain't doing no work. I just told you guys I worked super duper hard. I asked you guys if you would like a skeb of Diner Girl Am I or Chocolate Valentine's Day Am I. Because an artist that I liked had a skeb and they were open. And you guys picked Diner Girl am I. And we got this cute chibi. Working hard or hardly working? I'm working very hard. After this stream, I'm going to knock out maybe. But this art was by Tao Yuri. Yura. Tao Yura? Tao Yura? I'm probably mispronouncing that. I'm so sorry. For some reason, the slug ears from berries look like boxing gloves that can rapidly punch me. I haven't thought about that, but maybe I should try it. Chocolate covered in mine made me choke on my drink when you Was it because of was it like the bear skin? Talyura. Talyura? But they drew this. I'm very happy. I'm gonna get another sketch from them. And also I got, oh, the reason why I got that sketch is because I feel bad sometimes when I see other VTubers get like a bunch of commissioned art and their fans are like eating it up, and I'm like, oh, I don't buy any art from my fans. I'm too broke, kind of. So I just said I will get a skeb here and there, and if I'm able to, it would be nice if I could get a skeb like every month, at least one every month, just as like a treat to you guys. Like maybe if I have extra money in the Twitch subs, I will, because the Twitch subs I use to cover my internet bill. But if I have extra money in my Twitch subs, I might just use it to get skebs or like some sort of commission art. I shall eat it like a 5-star meal then. Okay, see, that's what I thought. I thought people would like it. Every other month good. Every other month would be good too. Every other month would be doable too. But the next art I got was from I'm not sure how you say their name. Mutama? And they did a little diner girl of mine as well, but as a little chibi, and then I animated her serving the public. Look at her go. Look at her go. She's having the time of her life. Ugh. I need to drink some water. She's bringing me a milkshake. Bring me a milkshake. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. Alright, and then the next thing I have to announce, where is it? There's this one, there's this one. There's the, okay. Oh yeah, you can see it now that I'm typing in chat. There are new sub badges. So the Good Find shop, who gives you little complimentary treats every month that you renew your toilet pass. You get little treats. And for the upcoming year, the new treats have been added. A tiny Mai runs across the stream. Whoa, did you guys see that? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? So we have, hold on. Hello, Bulu, welcome in. How are you doing today? Welcome, welcome. We have merchant shaped taiyaki, which is what I have currently. I'm not sure there's not really a merchant. No, it's not actually one. I wouldn't deep fry a merchant. Like what? Why would I do that? The next one is a treasure chest themed yellow cake with chocolate frosting and a key-shaped sugar candy. Hello, Celeste, welcome in. Thank you for the happy birthday. Celeste, I saw you got like a sketch from this like animator that I like. I've been thinking about commissioning them too, but I don't know what to ask for. Also, they're expensive. They're a little bit out of my range, but I love seeing their animations. I wonder if you knew who I'm talking about. The animator on Skeb. There's plenty of those. I wasn't very specific, I'm sorry. But there's a treasure chest with yellow cake and chocolate icing and a key-shaped sugar candy. And then a Mai themed vanilla ice cream with golden glazed donuts, chocolate pocky, and a dark chocolate wafer cone. Please enjoy. So the wafer cone is for those that have 5 years subs, I believe. Hello, Erdul, welcome in. Welcome. How are you doing today? Let me zoom out. Whoa. Full body. I wonder if I should do, hold on. Maybe I should lower myself slightly so that when I zoom out, it's still like, we can't quite get it. That's fine. That's fine. But hello, I hope you're all having a good day today. Also, Let me see. We talked about the reference sheet, badges. Okay. I have a little list of stuff to talk about. It's not planned for a while. I do want it to happen this week, next week, sorry. But I will be holding a art giveaway. I was saving a bit for it. Whew, I bet. I'm holding an art giveaway sometime next week. I'm going to talk about. Oh, hello. That scared me because they were back to back. Anonymous, thank you for the Bing Boo plushie and the maple Oreos. Oh wait, I forgot to say this. For my birthday, I had a yummy burger. I had a burger with bacon and cheese, pepper jack cheese, sorry. What else did I add to it? I had egg. I added an egg to it. And then this Asian sing sauce from Buffalo Wild Wings, and then I added something else to it. What was it? Oh, I added this spam, this like Korean barbecue spam to the burger too. And that was pretty good. And then I deep fried Oreos. I know I said that I couldn't buy like the Baskin Robbins brownie Oreo polar pie thing. And then I deep fried Oreos in pancake batter and coffee. I wonder if I should try deep frying these maple cream Oreos too. Rubs my chin. You love my pass it on. Hello, Myrmidon. Welcome in. I think you got a sub earlier. I recall I was saying your name in the list of subs. I was like, hello, Lilac. Welcome in. Welcome. Hope you're having an amazing day. Sending you lots of energy. I'm going to need it. I'm going to pass that after this stream. Such a pretty model. Thank you. It's not finished yet though. And this is a mock-up model. This isn't actually my model. When I re-debut, I will have different art. Entirely different art. Oh shit, a rat. Hello, Mammy. Welcome in. You're not the rat. I'm making a joke. Hello, Mammy. Thank you for renewing your toilet pass. But we will be having a giveaway sometime next week. I need to finish some stuff first before we start the giveaway. Came in the shower. You did what in the shower? You lucky bastard. Not what I said. Came in from the shower. Oh, okay. Hi. Hey, Emma. Welcome back. I misread that so bad. I was like, why would you say that? Emma, you missed it. We went over art that I got. There's a reference sheet. There is new sub badges, and then I was going over the giveaway. Hello, Angular. Welcome in. Welcome. How are you doing today? So there will be a giveaway on Blue Sky and a giveaway on Twitter. So the Twitter one will be to celebrate 4,000k followers, I think. Again, my Twitter numbers are turned off, but I believe it's over 4k. And then I will be doing a Blue Sky giveaway for 1,000 followers over there. Each giveaway will be like you retweet, repost, like, follow, that type of thing. And then if you want to, you can put the VTuber you want drawn or your own VTuber in the comments to be drawn. You see my descending from the high at the start. Oh yeah, I started with my toes. Love the cute sub badges. Thank you. I don't know too much about pixel art, so I'm glad that people like them, even though they're barely recognizable from a distance. Excuse me. But I'm going to do the giveaway after I finish this model artwork. And two, I wanted to do an intro video. I wrote the script, and I also wrote the script for the free voice pack that was supposed to come today. But like I said earlier, I finished, or at least I worked on everything that you're seeing today in like a week or less. Some of the things I started like yesterday. And I said, oh, I'm just going to save voice acting for later. I need to do the art first, and I would do the voice acting last. But because I've been so tired from doing everything, again, this is my own fault for rushing stuff. It's like, oh, I have an idea, and there's only 1 week left for everything. if I just plan stuff a bit better, like sooner, sooner? If I had planned stuff sooner, I wouldn't have had to rush. But I wanted to do an intro video. Do you guys want to hear me? I guess I could voice act it now. Hold on. Where is it? Here it is. I wanted to do an intro video for whenever someone comes to my page or my channel. Oh. Thank you for the Oreo cookie jar. Socks. I don't think I'm going to wear those socks. Every time I wear socks, I create holes in them. I'm scared I'm gonna make holes in them. And oh, that was your plan. Okay, so you wanted me to wear Oreo socks and wear an I Love Femboys hoodie. Thank you. Thank you, Ham. I will place the orders for everything after stream before I pass out. But because I've been so tired from working on stuff, my voice sounds tired. And I know sometimes when I'm streaming, you guys are like, oh my, you sound tired. Are you gonna sleep after stream? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't sound tired. And then I look back at the VOD and I do sound tired. So I didn't want to voice act when I was tired because I was like, people are going to hear it in the voice pack. I'm just gonna save it for when I'm not tired. But I was tired the entire time, so at some point I want to do the voice pack over. Do the voice pack and do the intro video. And my grippers are too strong for me or socks. I think maybe my feet are just really heavy. Maybe I'm very heavy footed. Heavy foot? There's a term for that, isn't it? Like when your feet are heavy. Because I actually get a lot of calluses on my feet too. And it's in the same areas. So I think I'm just like very... I mean, I walk around my house a lot. So maybe it's just I'm walking too much or something. But yeah, something I was going to say. What was it? Oh, do you guys want to hear the intro video? I'll try doing it. I'll get really close. Hold on. Let me get close. Yeah. All right. Let me put OBS over here so that I can see the script. All right. It opens with me like humming, and then I'm like, ah, a customer. Sorry, I didn't see you there. Hello, I'm Amai Mimari, and welcome to the Good Find Shop, a nautical shop run by yours truly. See something you like? And then like the camera zooms back, like the person isn't actually interested in anything in the shop. And then Amai's like, not a beach person, huh? Or maybe you're low on cash. Oh, my voice sounds so craggly. Hello, Foos Hunter, welcome in. Welcome. Not a beach person, huh? Or maybe you're low on cash? And then like Amai rolls a quarter or something in front of them. And then she's like, maybe I can interest you in becoming a merchant as one of my merchants. It's a limited time offer, so you gotta act now. What do you say? Wanna be my business partner? It's strictly business. Oh, shoot. I meant to rewrite that part. The line that I have now is like, it's strictly business though. Sorry. Let's keep everything professional. But I think I need to rewrite that so that it's not so wordy. But yeah, there's going to be an animated video for when people come to the page, and it's going to be that script. Once I edit it. Please read the fine print. We can't leave. What do you mean? What's wrong? Also, wait one moment. Okay. Either because my computer is like on fire or because I'm sweaty. I'm so hot right now. I had to take off something. I thought about what I was going to say and I was like, I shouldn't say what I'm taking off. We need to get her on Peloton? Peloton? She's getting winded walking around her house. Peloton? What's that? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly. Peloton? Oh, it's a treadmill. It's a specific brand. It's a specific brand of treadmill. I'd like a little, either an exercise bike or like a little pedal thing to put underneath my computer. I don't know where I would put it because I don't know if I have the room for it. But maybe one day. Let me post the reference sheet as well. And then let me move this over here. Hello, Astro. Welcome in. How are you doing today? Welcome, welcome. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Wait, one moment. Okay, there you go. Do this. Upload this. Hold on, I'm uploading the reference sheets real quick. Okay. So another thing that I need to talk about is, where is that? So, in the future, my birthday will not be celebrated in March. It will be celebrated in January. To add more details to this, I have not been able to celebrate my birthday, because I've been working on stuff for stream. Not just this year, but in previous years too. And it was fine when we were, all locked down because, no one could go outside to do anything. But now that everything is a bit more open, hold on, I'm posting a reference sheet. I don't have time to put in the alt text, I'm sorry. But yeah, like, this year, some of my family members wanted to go to a restaurant that I like, and I was like, I can't make it, I'm sorry. Or last year, they were like, oh, are you gonna do something? We're going to such and such place. Do you want to go with us? And I can't because I'm prioritizing stuff to work on stream. Because I do want stream to be fun for you guys. And it is like the rare time that I do something like a major event. Because I don't celebrate my affiliate. I don't celebrate like any anniversaries. I don't celebrate my debut anniversary. I honestly forgot when it was. So the only things that I celebrate are my birthday, and if there's a charity event or a donathon event, I celebrate that. So I try to put my all into my birthday celebrations, but like I said, because of that, I haven't actually been able to celebrate my birthday. So I'm thinking of moving it to January the 17th, which is Customer Service Day. So you guys have to be nice to me. I work in customer service. You have to be nice to me. But yeah, I just wanted to move it so one, I can celebrate my actual birthday, and two, you guys still get something. It's not like I'm getting rid of any birthday celebrations at all. Additionally, hold on, let me drink some water because my throat is getting dry already. Excuse me. Additionally, I said there would be no donathon events, no subathon events this year, and that is still true. Oh, also I need to get people that bought gifts. If you want me to add a VTuber or character to the Tomodachi Life game, please let me know. So Hammer, you have to anonymous. I can't prove who you are, so I don't think I can give you one. I'm sorry. But anyone else who has bought a gift, please let me know who you'd like me to add to the Tomodachi Life game. And I said there's no donathon and subathon events this year. I lied! There is a charity event in October. We used to do a charity event with Gamers Outreach, which is a charity who gives games to kids in hospitals, so that while they're in their hospital stay, they at least have a little bit of fun and hang out with friends. Hello, Greedra. Welcome in. How are you doing today? Welcome, welcome. We used to do it every year, but these past few years, I've been too busy with other things to actually, like, spend time on it. But I'm hoping to finish any remaining donathon, subathon rewards and incentives, and then by October we can do the charity event. So there's one charity event. There's still no donathon, there's still no subathon, but there will be a charity event. Let me see. Let me look through my list on my voice. Hold on. Oh, speaking of incentives, I feel like I should be doing something. My PNG is just floating around here. Speaking of donathon, subathon stuff. One of the previous goals was to get a model of my cats, Beautiful and Handsome. But because Beautiful passed away earlier this year, and I'm still having issues about it. So I'm going to be changing that goal to something else because I don't think I can handle having a model of my baby on screen without being a little bit sad still. So the reward has been changed to a mascot version of Bay. And Bay will get a mascot that will be shown on screen. You can summon him whenever you want and he's on the screen for a little bit. Maybe he talks if I can set it up. Maybe he will meow. But yeah, there will be a Bay mascot. Perfectly reasonable, thank you. For understanding. But yeah, Bay will get like a little mascot version of himself. If you don't know who Bay is our basically bodega cat boy. Hold on. Here he is. What is this? Oh, okay. He's not on the screen. I'm sorry. I didn't set him up on the screen. But he is our bodega cat boy. He will be receiving a mascot version, and additionally, he has a stream in April, on April 1st. I wonder what he's doing on April 1st. Why are you fucking him? I'm sorry, why are you humping the ground? I don't like that the dodos are like out of sync in the chat. Like they're going at their own different pace. So cute. I'm glad you like him. I'm glad you guys like him. He will get like a tiny mascot version. It'll be on stream. You can summon him whenever. There we go. And he has a stream on April. And I think he's doing something. I don't know what he's doing. You will have to check in on him to see what he's doing on April 1st. Going down my list of stuff to talk about. Fan merch. I was working on merch of several different VTubers. I could put the Nemi one on screen. Hold on. Is it this one? No, not that. This. So I was doing artwork of several different indie VTubers. I have been so busy with everything. Like my baby passing away in January, and then Handsome's health issues in February, and catching up with commissions to pay for those things, and then working on stuff for my birthday for March. So I have not had time to work on fan merch in a while, and I haven't been able to get a PO box for it either, as I've just been so busy. So for a moment, fan merch is on hold until I'm able to actually work on things. Hello, Inmei, welcome in, welcome. How are you doing today? But there is artwork done for several of them. And here's some good news. There's some good news. I've been seeing some really bummer news. Here's some good news though. I will be working with Hovercat again. We will be making a goofy little thing coming up whenever I can work on it. Hello, Sriracha. Welcome in. Welcome. How are you doing today? Thank you for happy birthdays. If you aren't familiar, Hovercat is the company that I worked with before to create my fan merch. My merch, not fan merch. Merch of me. Hold on, I have an image here. This one. So previously there was a bundle of quite a few things. There were pins, there were stickers, there was a standee, there was a plushie, a titty mouse pad, booby mouse pad, air freshener, book, just like a whole bunch of cool stuff. And some of it is still available, actually. But other things are unavailable, like the plushie. So I'm looking into possibly restocking the plushie and then making a new... Hi. Hi, Hovercat. Welcome in. So how did you get here? You weren't lurking earlier, were you? I saw the car said, does it still smell like chocolate? I've been curious about that actually. The air freshener is the artwork in the top right of me jiggling pudding. Does it still smell like chocolate? It was so hype. I hope you guys like the new goofy idea. No, we would never. It sounds like something a cat would say. speaking of cats, because I've been so busy working on stuff, Handsome has become an iPad cat. It's so fucking funny, but also concerning. It's so, it's so like, I'm at my desk and he's bothering me. He's like, I want attention. And then I go downstairs and I turn on the TV. He runs, like runs full force downstairs to the TV. Well, he ran past me first, and then I was like, oh, okay, he just has the zoomies. He just wants to run around. And then I like turn the TV to the nature channel that he likes watching, and he runs and puts his face like 3 centimeters in front of the screen. It's lost its scent after a few months, but it looks good, so it stays. Yay! Yay, yay, yay. Glued to the TV. He literally is, because I will leave the TV on for several hours, and I remember later. I'm like, oh shit, I left the TV on for 2 hours. And then I go downstairs and he's just mesmerized by it. But it's to the point where even when the nature channel isn't on, he's still looking at the TV. So I think I made him like addicted to the TV? Question mark? Hello, me, Kinobi. Welcome in. How are you doing today? My dog does it too. He likes watching Looney Tunes. I haven't gotten Hanson to watch anything that's not like birds and squirrels and other little woodland creatures eating. He's just absolutely mesmerized by it. I feel happy every time I get in my car and see that smug face. Smug? No, I'm happy. Look. Happy. Tongue out? Actually, several of these have my tongue out, now that I'm looking at it. My mouth was open and I look pathetic. But yes, in the future there will be more merch. I hope you guys like it. I don't think we will make it into a pack with the old merch, and I don't think the bundle from before will be available. Most of these are smug. Really? These have smug energy? Is it not just like a confident smile? Really? But yes, things are still in the works, so please look forward to it, okay? Please look forward to it. Let me see. What else is on my list of stuff? Reference sheet we talked about, giveaway we talked about, intro video we talked about, merch talked about, cheerleader outfit talked about, Bay, badges, TV, Papa Mai. I didn't get to talk about Papa Mai. I put this in the Discord. I don't get smug from them. Yeah, I don't feel smug from them. See, that emote is literally smug. I called that one smug. The other ones aren't smug. The keychain is probably the least smug. Yeah, that's what I thought too. But, Papa Mai, my papa, my dada, he gave me a gift card, and with the gift card, I bought Tomodachi Life. So I was going to take some commissions around April to cover buying Tomodachi Life, but because he gave us a gift card, I don't need to do commissions. So I can just chill and work on other things for a bit. And then after, I told you guys that he knows that I'm a streamer, but years ago he didn't want me to tell my little brother that I'm a streamer, because he was like, I don't want your little brother to become a streamer too. I want him to like seriously think about his future. The only one that looks smug is the air freshener. The air freshener looks the most smug? I was going to say at least the mouse pad looks a little bit smug. And maybe the tote bag. The air freshener looks smug? Maybe there's something wrong with me. But this time, oh, I also told him about, because I wanted a Switch 2 for Christmas. I told him he doesn't have to worry about a Switch 2 because I got one. I got one. Thank you, QG. Again, thank you. And I told him that, and he was like, oh, okay. So you're doing pretty good with this streaming thing, huh? Do you need a manager? Switch to what? You poor soul, you. You don't have a Switch 2. That's so mean. I hope they lower the price one day, because it would be nice to play with people. But he was like, so you're doing pretty good with that streaming thing, huh? Maybe you should make it like a full-time job. And I was like, oh, that's very supportive of him. And then he's like, would you like me to be your manager? Would you like your younger brother to be your assistant? Do you need an assistant? I was like, and then I realized it. I was like, you're just trying to be nosy. Because he wants to know what my stream name is. Upper right is the only smug one to me. The pudding one? Once the Fire Emblem bundle gets announced, I'm getting one. Ooh, I bet it's gonna be pretty. But yeah, he was like, he just wants to know what my ad is. And I told him before, I'm not telling you. And he said, oh, I thought over these years you'd become a bit more lenient about it and you would let me know what it is. Literally, if people have like their boyfriends and girlfriends as their managers, I can't imagine having like your family member as your manager too. Pudding is the air freshener. Yes, the pudding one is the air freshener. You think that one is smug still? That was the Fat Jackson 5, yeah, Nightmare. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm also not hiring my little brother as an assistant. Never tell your parents. No, absolutely not. People that do that are so strong. Even if I mean, he knows I'm a streamer. I just wouldn't tell him what my ad is because he would definitely say some shit. I thought about, have you guys seen that video? Is her name Kiwi? Hold on, let me make sure this is right. Let me Google Kiwi VTuber. Yeah, Kiwi. She did a stream with her father where she showed him several VTubers and he was like, no, Kiwi with the W. She did a stream with her father where she showed him several VTubers that and she wanted to get a reaction out of him, and he was like horny for several of them. He was like, yeah, give me her number. Like that's how my dad would be. If he were on stream, he would say, give me the number of that one, and also, why is your VTuber white? Hello Bandit, welcome in, welcome. How are you doing today? How are you? Yeah, he would definitely be upset that my VTuber is white. Even though I didn't really mean to make her white. Hello Rappy, welcome in. Oh, the worm? Yeah, the worm. The worm who's possessing a whole cool ass body. Hello Rappy, welcome in, welcome. Is there anything else I needed to talk about before we get into the game? Merch, Papa, badges. Oh, Ring Fit, okay. I needed a piece of equipment for Ring Fit streams for my headset. And it finally came in. I think it was last month, maybe? Hope you're having a wonderful birthday. I am. I'm thinking about getting another deep fried Oreo and munching on it a little bit. Because it has coffee in it. I mixed coffee into it. Oh, that was the funny thing. Not yesterday, I'm having a hard time keeping track of days because I've been pulling all-nighters. Whatever time I made the Oreos, it was dark. I don't know what time it was. I ate them and then they gave me horrible diarrhea. And then I passed out for like 30 minutes and then I woke up and I could not go back to sleep because of the coffee in the batter of the Oreos. I was like, oh, okay. I think I laid in bed for like an hour or two and I was like, oh, well, I guess I can't sleep because of the coffee. And then I got up and started working on other things. So yeah, I'm gonna go get another Oreo so I can get more coffee into me. It doesn't make me shit anymore, thankfully. But it would be nice to have a little bit of caffeine in me, just smidget. But about the Ring Fit, previously, I think it was last year, Hamu bought me protein powder, like an Oreo protein powder, and I took it occasionally. Actually, I wasn't supposed to take it. I did take it like twice. I said, I'm not opening this until I exercise and do Ring Fit on stream, and then I think I had it twice because I was desperate. I wanted the taste of something sweet. It is good. It doesn't have like a horrible protein taste to it or like that texture that you get from protein either. And then I didn't eat anymore because I felt guilty. I was like, I wasn't supposed to eat it. I was supposed to eat it when we do Ring Fit, and I didn't do Ring Fit. I don't want to eat it anymore. And then I didn't eat it. And then it expired. It expired last August, I think. And I was too busy to do Ring Fit streams, and I didn't have the headphones that I have now either. But now that I have the headphones, now that I have a Switch 2 to try out the new Ring Fit game on, everything should be good. I should be able to do Ring Fit streams at some point. I know I keep saying it. I'm like, Ring Fit, yeah, and then I don't do it. But for real this time. And also, I'm going to rebuy the powder. The powder is still in my house, but I'm afraid to open it. I'm afraid that I'm going to like open it and inhale it, and then I'm going to be in a chubby emu video. It's like, this dumb broad open 1 year expired protein. And hello Louie, welcome in. How are you doing today? Welcome. Oh, you were playing Deadlock. I re-downloaded Deadlock actually. I haven't played it, but I did re-download it. But hello Louie, welcome in. Hello Belnery, welcome in. Hello Mysterious Emblem, welcome in. Hello Joshy, welcome in. Also QT, thanks for giving a toilet pass to Rappy as well. Thank you. Amai, we need to get your stamina up. You're like an Uma that we never stamina grinded, so I'm like Bakshin. You put only speed on me, and you put no stamina. Hello, Louis. Everyone, you want to see the new stuff? Hold on, let me zoom out. Oh, is my stream chugging? Ooh, my stream might be chugging. Oh, is it because has it been chugging this whole time? Oh, okay. It looks like it's fine now. Are you back? Hello? Maybe there's like a big delay. It's good now? Okay. It broke after reload. Okay. I don't know what happened. But I do think that this new overlay. Oh, the background for this is like 8,000 pixels big because I'm supposed to zoom in on it. And you'll see it in a moment when we play the game. But yeah, this background is huge. And also the little filter that I'm using to make like the glass effect on the left and on the clock are also a little bit intensive. Hold on, let me do something real quick. Put these two here. There we go. So now when I do this, there we go. Oh man, that's a spoiler for the game. What could this game be? No one is going to guess this fucking game. But yeah, if you see behind me, hold on, there's a TV. And so what's supposed to happen is that when we're playing a game, we zoom in on the TV, and then it's like this. Resident Evil 4, no. Yes, let me show you guys everything. So this is the full body. That was 4, obviously. Nope. I gave you guys a hint with the background of the thumbnail. Hold on. But I don't think anyone recognized it. I was like, is it too easy? And then I added a bunch of like filters over it. I was like, maybe it's too hard now. Maybe no one will like get what it is. Yeah, maybe no one will get it. Bass fishing the hook. No. But we have full body. We have excuse me. Where is it? We have reference sheet. We have also, if you see, I'm 7'2", by the way. I'm kind of big in this height department. SMH. Rep sheet, let's go. Yes. There's that. There is. Here we have new sub badges. The one that I currently have is the oldest one, which is the Taiyaki one. Oh yeah, I wanted to get Taiyaki for my birthday, but the place that I can buy it from sold out of it. I was so sad. Like when I was drawing this, I was like, man, I really want Taiyaki. And they were out. There's that. There is... Where's the other thing? Hello, Mysterious Emblem. Welcome in. How are you doing today? Welcome, welcome. What's the other thing I needed to post? Oh, there is a giveaway coming up soon. There is a... my birthday will be changed. There are several other things too. Just a lot of things that I've been kind of cooking. It's funny that your short form is close to the size of my taller form. You're 2 centimeters tall. You're so small. Where's my thing? Hold on. Okay, there we go. I kind of wish you guys could see the TV. I'm too wide. Something else I was going to say. What was it? Before we start the game. What were we talking about? Oh, Ring Fit. Yeah, I'm going to do a Ring Fit stream at some point. I don't know when. I will add it to the schedule though. It would be nice if we could do Ring Fit streams every morning or every other morning so that I don't exhaust myself. Oh, but what I was going to say was that I'm going to rebuy the protein powder for myself. Because Hamu bought it with the intention of me playing protein. Hamu bought it with the intention of me doing Ring Fit streams. And then I waited too long and it expired. So I'm going to buy it myself and then do Ring Fit streams. So that everything is good. Everything is Gucci. I will not be canceled yet. I wonder if I will get canceled for the Femboy shirt. I can't show it on stream because there's a PP. And there's a PP in the hoodie. But I would I can't wear that shirt in public. But in any case, let me move this over here. Actually, let me put you guys on the BRB screen while I get stuff set up for the game, okay? Right back. What? And back. Hold on, let me turn that off. Oh, where's my audio for the game? Hold on. There we go. And then unmute. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hold on. All right. Can you hear it? Can you hear the funky little sound effects? Yes, okay. Is it too loud or is it too quiet? This is SSX, no. Would you guys like to guess what the game is before I go back to the menu for it? Hold on. Do this. There you go. Would you like to guess the game? Let me drink some water real quick, hold on. Isn't this music great? I listen Bass Pro Shop, no. You guys would be surprised. I played this game when I was a kid. It's Shark Tale. So if you guys have ever wondered, Amai, why don't you play Metal Gear Solid? Why don't you play stealth games? This game is the reason why I don't play stealth games. You would never have guessed that, would you? There's a fucking level, sorry, there's a level in this game that was this is the first game that I ever rage quit because there's a stealth level in this. And I played it so many times and could not pass it when I was a kid that I just gave up. And I said, I'm never ever playing another stealth game in my life. There's a fucking level in Shark Tale. Oh, the worst stealth mechanic is you're so real. Fuck stealth level. Let's make a new game. My favorite number is 3. Please work.
Heard you the first time.
I know you're in there, I've got. I can feel your dress seeping through the door.
Yeah, my landlady. Maybe she didn't see me. I gotta find a new place with a peephole, and a back exit, and a moat, and a better looking landlady.
Oscar, I can hear every word you're saying.
I need a sexy landlady.
Or I'll break this door down and charge you for the damages.
Hey, baby, you looking good. Those algae treatments are really working out. That crusty thing around your eyes almost cleared up.
Don't try to sweet talk me, you greasy, bubbly little freeloader. You owe me 3 months back rent, and I'm in no mood for your cut rate brand of charisma.
You crazy. I got a hot tip on a seahorse today. I can't tell you the name, but it's lucky day. When that sweet baby comes in, you and me are gonna have a nice candlelight dinner for 2. We'll get us some escargot and maybe a harpist off in the corner. Really pretty.
I love her
Gorgeous
face.
even. Her shapely white scales glistening like molten pearl.
Oscar, I have had it up to here with you. You are evicted. Vamos! Or I call my cousin with a big pizza claws and eye stalks to show you what happens to those who do not vamoose when so instructed.
This is not his girlfriend in the
I like
movie.
you when you're like this, spicy.
Lazy, shifty, cheap Oscar.
Good morning once again, Reef City. I'm Katie Current, and you're watching
Keeping it
CI
current.
News. Not just Reef City's only TV news, but its second highest rated. Our top story tonight, you've just been evicted. You're out of money, out of luck, and out on your butt. Tail, did someone proof this copy?
Man, she threw out my whole CD collection.
In music news, a rare collection of CDs was found by a hermit crab named
He
Crispy
stole
Joe.
them.
He was quoted as saying,
I got 3 things to say. Ha! 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 That's all, folks.
Sounds like Crazy Joe. I better get a move on.
you can look
I don't like
around
that he
by
has, like,
moving
teeth.
the mouse and swim by holding the left mouse button.
Oh,
Use
this
the
is-
right mouse
okay.
button to dart forward and smash things. And now here's Stan with the weather.
It's gonna be another wet one today, Katie.
It's gonna be another wet one today, Katie. CD collection, this game is old. Leave me alone. Oh, damn it, I clicked out of the game. Okay. Uh-oh, it's broken. Okay, no, we're good, we're good. Hey, you.
Hey, Oscar! Heard you got eviscerated, man!
That's evicted. There is a difference.
Well, it just so happens my brother-in-law's got himself an empty apartment. You can crash there anytime you like.
Wait. If your brother-in-law's got an empty apartment, why are you living in a trash can?
Smile.
Don't you question the way of the warrior? The street life feeds my kung fu and makes me strong. Hi-ya! Hi-ya! Woo!
Ooh.
All right, don't hurt yourself. I'll take the apartment.
Well, if only real life were like
Choice,
that.
Oscar. Anytime you want in, just come in and right-click on me!
This game is so funny. Enter Oscar's apartment, yeah. We should zoom in and do a really creepy face. Wow, this is our apartment. What's in there? You having fun in there? What you doing? What you doing? Yeah, guys, what do you think about this game so far? You like it? Ah, it brings back memories. The mouse sensitivity is crazy. Mouse speed. Is this it? Okay, that's slightly better. See, now imagine playing this game and this is walking. This is the walk speed. This is not running. This would be the run. Now imagine doing a stealth mission and you're going this fast at all times. Yes. It's a very PS2 game. This is a CD-ROM game. Also, hold on. I need to do something real quick. Uh-oh. Okay, Shame is still alive. Yay! Okay. Let's see. So we gotta get rich. First of all, we gotta get rich. You can't be poor. Can't be poor on my birthday.
Hey, Sykes! Just the fish I wanted to see.
I don't have time for you, Oscar. I got important things to do.
But I'm important.
Newsflash, Oscar. No one else thinks you're important yet. Don't take
But
it
he's on a
personally. You
TV.
just can't talk to Sykes until you get some fame. And as we all know, fame is strictly the domain of the talented and intelligent.
Oh, we're
You earn
stupid.
fame by doing
There's his
jobs for other
girlfriend.
fish. The better you do, the more fame you'll get. Try right-clicking on this guy. That icon over his head means he's got a job for you to do. Job equals fame, and fame equals fun. Or so we'd have you believe.
This game is so fucking funny, guys. Are you laughing? Are you laughing with me? Happy birthday. How does it feel to be fit? Why are you guys guessing random ass
You
numbers?
again? What did I say about following me?
Why are you guys guessing numbers? Are the sharks already friends? Twitch subtitle just said something insane. Hey, what did it say? I'm scared. Hey, you. Do you really want to bother the shark? Yeah. Wait, hold on. Let's go talk to our girlfriend. Wait, we have to collect these too. You have to make sure to collect everything. I don't remember what the lightning bolts do. God, the controls in this are so ass. 22, maybe 34? That's a wide range. I don't think I can type it. Oh, I'm scared. Did it say something like a slur? I'm scared. Oh, no, wait. Let's go talk to our girlfriend first. Hi, baby.
Oscar, aren't you supposed to be at work?
I don't have a
Oh,
job.
Angie, you said the W word.
So you can't be bothered to do your job.
The J
It's
word.
just like you, Oscar.
Come on, Angie. Pretty soon, I'm gonna be the richest fish in Reef City. Can't get into the details, but today is my lucky day. 1 or 2 days of not scrubbing whale blubber ain't gonna make much of a difference.
Whatever, Oscar. Just stay away from Sykes today. He's in a terrible mood. I don't think he'll even talk to you unless you've got something really important. Hey! That crab pinched my purse!
Something out of pocket.
Don't worry your pretty little head, Angie. Oscar is on the case.
Wait! He might be dangerous!
Do you want to try getting her purse back? No. I mean, is there anything important in it? To me, is there anything important in it? To me. That's also partially why I turned off captions. One, because my captions broke, but two, because I kept seeing it say some stuff that I did not say. Oh. Okay, so this is the stealth mission. Cool. Immediately.
Tonight on Crime Watch, breaking and entering. Angie's purse is somewhere in this warehouse, which is for some reason guarded by crabs with flashlights. Sentry crabs don't see well, but do taste great with a shallot cream sauce.
Huh?
If you stay out of the flashlight beams, you won't be detected.
Stealth mission
Avoid
immediately.
the barracudas as well.
Yeah, the
They're
shark part was the part that
ill-tempered
got me.
and
Oh, the
single-minded and prone
barracudas.
to eat anything they come across. Reminds me of my first husband. Guards can be temporarily distracted by throwing urchins. It's practical and fun, except for the urchins.
I'm sorry, merchants. So the stream ends here. I don't remember how you throw them. Okay, that's not the right button. What button is to throw? Okay, I need to be careful. Was it enter? Okay, no, the space. Okay, there we go. Oh, oh. It was a good run. I mean, so far so good. Okay. Maybe I was just greedy when I was a kid, and I always went for the money. So far so good. So far so good. We haven't gotten to the roundabout part. There's a part where
In science news, this is a switch. Swim over and right-click on it. Yes, now.
do it now. There's a part where there was like a bunch of sharks circling around, and that was the part where I gave up. It's like right at the end too. Always go for the money. We do need money to be not broke.
Yes, it looks like you opened a door. A slow news day, apparently.
This game is so fucking funny. Please laugh. Okay. And also there are no save slots. Actually, yeah, you can't save.
Check that out. They left the purse just sitting there.
She's no longer
This will
asking.
be easier than I thought.
Oh shit! Ah!
Maybe not.
I didn't mean to do that.
There's gotta be another way out of
I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. Okay. Ooh. Why do I keep doing that? I keep pressing. Okay. I keep pressing the space bar because I'm like, oh yeah, space is to like move. It's to run. It's fine, 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 it's fine. Just go, just go, just go, just go. Ah!
Let me out of here.
You're so funny. Oh, we already had the bag. That's good.
We get no overtime for this. Oh, boy. I have to listen to another one of those crabs whining. I got a college education.
That's a red pearl. It must be super rare. I don't think there's a flashlight down here. Okay, okay. We're getting close. I think this is the part where I gave up as a kid. There was some sort of area that had a lot of blue. Hi, handsome. No, it wasn't this area because it's not open yet. You aren't 50, so like 55? So you guys want me to be a gilf? Is that what I'm hearing? Oh, something's in the way. Uh-oh. Ah! Hi, handsome.
Secondhand food.
You want to sit in my lap, baby? Hi, cutie. Okay. Oh, I think that was part of the reason why I had difficulties with this game was, you can see the field of vision, the field of view of, like, the crabs, but you can't see the vision of the barracudas. So when they're circling around, there's no space for you up here, buddy. Here, sit over here. There you go. So when you're following them and stuff, you don't know if they see you, and you don't really know.
Another one of those crabs whining.
Like that one didn't see me, but that one over there might see me. Okay, it didn't see me. So how old are you exactly? My humanity is 21 plus years old. Okay, they found me. Run, you run, you run, you run. Shit. Keep going, keep going, keep going. It's fine, just run. Just run, just run, just run. There's an exit somewhere, probably. Keep going.
Maybe we both need a little time to digest what just happened.
My humanity is 21 plus years old. And every time someone asks, the timer resets. So thank you. So I was right about what? I don't think it comes up here. Like they don't see me. That time they don't see me. Fuck. No, it's over there. It's over there. Go.
How you like my new Barracuda?
You're at least 28. Is it because I like Shark Tale? Is that how you gauge my age? Your guess? Your little guess? No! No! I think you're at least 35. 55 is 21 plus. And what, cat years?
Come back here.
My brother loved this movie. What? Just got here.
How about this? You spit me out and I swim away real fast.
No, now imagine playing this game as a kid. And they just eat you. They just eat your ass for just standing here. Where did he even see me? That. See, other times they don't seem to like notice you.
And I always thought it was just urban myth.
I always wanted to be bored 50 times on my birthday by a barracuda. Wrong. This way. Oh, come on. Just run. Just run. Just run. Just run. Just run. Just run. Wait, did I actually get out?
You did it! How did you... You didn't hurt anybody, did you?
No, I just tied all his legs in a knot, pounded his shell in, poked him in the eye stalk. He might live.
Well, I'll see you at work.
What? You don't think I could take on a dozen crabs with my bare fins? Have you seen me dance? That kind of agility can be lethal.
Sure, Oscar. Get to work. And try not to hurt yourself filling the soap buckets, Hercules.
Yeah, well, what does she know? I could take on a crab. If I knew how to fight. And they didn't have those claws. I mean, those things are nasty.
Fame plus 100. Cool, I finished. I feel like that wasn't it though. I feel like I had a harder time. Oh, that's just a little speed boost. Hey. Yeah. What's up, fuckface? Yo.
Hey, what's up, brother? Give me some fin. I get it, I get it. You want to keep things on a professional level.
I don't like that he has
You missed
teeth.
your last payment. In fact, you missed all your payments.
Oh yeah, this is the one where you run around the
I'll
city.
have your claims for you by the end of the day. I offer my personal verbal guarantee, which you just can't put a price on.
I got my orders, Oscar. I don't want money anymore.
Really? All right then. Thanks, man. Well, I'm on roll. Got places to see, fishes to be.
Oh, you're still paying me back.
In sushi.
Sushi? Oh, I get it. That's a pretty decent comeback. Actually, wait a minute. Sushi? That's fish meat. Ah, fins don't fail me now.
Immediately goes into the chase sequence.
Hey, stop the game. Stop the game. Woo. All right. Before you go and get me killed,
JK.
let me tell you how this is gonna work. You see that big shark back there? See that big hole in his face with all the white pointy things?
See that thing?
Yeah, that's his mouth. Your job is to keep me out of it. I'm gonna be swimming toward the screen like this. When you see an arrow pop up, that means I'm about to hit something. Move the mouse to get me out of the way. And if you see that jerk trying to bite on me, move me as fast as you can. And pay attention. I am not gonna be lunch just because you saw something shiny across the room. All right, you got it?
Just because I looked at my cat and thought he was adorable and pretty and gorgeous and just the best boy ever. Oh shit, okay. So it's, okay. So it goes where the arrow goes. Okay, got it.
Man, I know you hate spicy food. That's why I just chugged a whole bottle of hot sauce. I think I'll make me some shark fin.
Guys, this is so stressful. I was already sweating. This game is so stressful. It reminds me of my days back in the ocean when other creatures tried to interact with me. Not eat me because I'm poisonous. No one would eat me. But just interacting with me was so much.
I got a home for you. My stomach.
I got a home for you. Whoa,
I think I'll make me some shark fin soup.
You got this, thank you. One less sweat bead went inside of me. Had a video game, what the fuck? Hello, Aria? I played this game as a kid. And I thought it would be goofy to play on my birthday. I still feel like that stealth mission wasn't the stealth mission that annoyed me when I was a kid. I don't know, but I feel like it was sharks and that it was like a different hideout. Maybe I'm misremembering things.
Let that be a lesson to you. Never try to collect money from those who can fit through tight
What if we beat
spaces.
the whole game?
I'll have your clams tonight.
Fame plus 100. They're gonna see me on the news and not for my death. Alright, where to now? Oh my god, I'm so happy. Happy Forever 21. Thank you. It's true, I'm Forever 21. I do look forward to being 30, but like, I wouldn't tell you guys when I am.
Sometimes you find money just lying on the street. Go ahead and pick it up. Finders keepers.
I've been touching that shit all day.
You can also pick up urchins like this one and throw them at other fish. Just press the space bar.
Just be a
Check
menace.
with legal and make sure we can say that. Oh, and just a touch more paprika on this sometime today.
This game is so funny. Oh, that's bad. Okay, that's radioactivity? Question mark? Yeah, if I was 50, I look forward to being... Why do you guys think that I'm 50? Hold on. Okay. What was the cake flavor for this year? Oh, I didn't get a cake. I made deep fried Oreos. Oh, I didn't go get my Oreo. I made deep fried Oreos with pancake batter and coffee. And the Oreos were mint. So it's like mint, coffee, and a little bit of sweetness from the pancakes. There's something I'm supposed to do next. What is it? Oh, the record. Hey, you.
Oscar Baboscar, my John Delicious friend!
John
Favorite
Delicious.
CD, and it even smells just like your apartment!
Give it to me. I missed it. Did you get your massage? I've been trying to get it. So, originally I said I was going to go to like the ramen place and then get the massage from the place that's near the ramen place. But I was too busy working on everything to actually go get ramen. And so I just said, I'll just go to the place that's near me that my grandmother recommended. But they're like weird. I called them. Well, first I looked online to see if I can make an appointment, and they don't book appointments online. I was like, okay. So they said to call, and then I called, and they said, oh, we're not accepting calls for appointments. We're accepting text, but you can still leave a voice message. So I left the voice message, and I haven't gotten anything back. At some point, I just need to call them or go somewhere else because it feels weird. I mean, my grandmother liked it when she went. she said it was like a really nice deep tissue massage, and I was like, ooh, I'll get one too. It's actually criminal offense to not have cake, so I'm gonna have to call the police on you. Actually, hold on. We have new sub badges, and the sub badges is the cake. Hold on, where is it? This way. Oh, it's underneath everything. Massage. I thought it was the ramen place. Oh no, there's a massage place near the ramen place. See, we technically had a cake. We had a cake. It's fine. We had a cake. There we go. Okay, but the ramen might be fire. I did get ramen delivered though, because I still wanted it, but of course it wasn't as good because it was like.
Hey, look, a sandwich. You know, whenever I'm hungry or depressed, or if I got a broken tail or a piece of fin missing, or if my health bar's low, a sandwich always fixes me right up. Gotta love them sandwiches.
I love that you stopped me after I ate. This is the third piece of sandwich that I ate today. Hope you get the massage soon. I hope so too. I hope so too. Ooh. What? I'm stuck? Okay. Yeah, I think either I text him, which still feels weird to me, or I just go to a different place. They were kind of like, I don't want to judge people or businesses, but it was like the type of business that's really, really into health stuff to the point where it's almost religious, you know? Oh, this is the rhythm game, I think. Yeah, they were like, oh, this is our, this treatment will do wonders for you, yada, yada, yada. And it's like a foot soak. And then they're selling like various like health products.
I don't have any smooth moves.
This is the best part of the game.
Everybody's got some funk in
They might be a cult.
Well, except for my boss.
Oh my, that is true. My grandmother only went once and she didn't really want to go back again. She said it was good, but she didn't want to go back. Just was like, oh yeah, it was really good.
Serious moves. Back it up now. Give me some room.
Gatorade. Yes. So this is the best part of the game. Rhythm game. We'll be back to our video game after this commercial break. Look at this sandwich. Thanks to that eating at a restaurant is far better. Yeah, the ramen was also just like a little cold.
But requires significant amounts of coordination. In addition
He went to a health
blasting
retreat, that was a
booyah
cult.
flavor G-funk while
It's
jamming
also
straight
just like
up
in
old
a
school.
normal
You see
building.
those colorful
Does that make
bubbles
sense?
rising up the screen?
I don't want to be
Hit the
mean and
three
say
buttons at the top
it's in a
and
normal
push the
building,
magic
but it was
arrow keys to
like,
pop the bubbles. The more you pop, the cooler you are.
I think I'll just go to a different place. The more I talk about it, the more I'm like, maybe I'll just go somewhere else.
But don't make a mistake or you'll start looking silly, and that can be scarring. The
You don't
bar
want to
at the top
humiliate
of the
yourself in
screen
front
is
of the
your
kids.
cool meter. When you pop a bunch of bubbles in a row, people will think you're cool, and the cool meter will increase.
DDR pad.
Try
My mom
getting
had
your meter
one.
as full as you can by the end of the song and be the envy of bored family members and gullible peers.
Their
Now
stupid little
get out there
faces.
and have a good time.
This is the best part. Hold on, I need to lock in. Fuck. Those weren't words. Fuck. The cool bar is really large. Oh, the screen is stretched out. Fuck.
That's what I'm talking about.
I didn't even do good.
How's it feel to see such world-class fin work?
I liked it.
I liked it.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, me neither.
It was awful.
Will you kids make up your minds? And listen to those first guys. I think they were onto something.
Show us again, and we'll decide. Do it again. Do it again.
20 plus 110. You just unlocked a memory for me. I remember the DVD of Shark Tale had behind the scene dance tutorial. Really? That sounds so cute. How did I watch Shark Tale? You want to play again? That shit was ass, bratty kids. I think it's a different song when you play again. If not, I will leave. Yeah, they were like, we're gonna get the full song. Oh, hell yeah.
This here's a jam for all the fellas. Try to do what those ladies tell us. A girl starts walking, guys start walking. Sits down next to you and starts talking. Says she wanna dance cause she likes the groove. So come on, fatso, and just bust the move. Just bust the move.
Shit was ass. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're on a mission and you're wishing someone could cure your lonely condition. Looking for love in all the wrong places. Don't find girls just ugly faces. From frustration, first inclination is to become a monk and leave the situation. You run over there without a second to lose. And what comes next? Hey, bust the move.
I can do that.
Just bust the move.
I had a Game Boy Advance game for it too. There's a Game Boy game for this?
In the city, ladies look pretty. Guys tell jokes so they can seem witty. Tell a funny joke just to get some play. Then you try to make a move and she says no way. Girls are faking, goodness saking. They want a man who brings home the bacon. Got no money and you got no car and you got no women. And there you are. Some girls are sadistic, materialistic. Looking for a man makes them opportunistic. They're lying on the beach perpetrating a tin so that a brother with money can be their man. So on the beach you're strolling, real high rolling. Everything you have is yours and not stolen. A girl runs up with something to prove, so don't just stand there and bust the move. That's what I'm
There you go. Hell yeah.
Who's with me?
I didn't like it.
Adopt me. Adopt me.
Hey, don't get all mushy on me now. Keep practicing. I'll catch y'all later. And tell all your mamas I said hi. Especially yours, Tyrone.
All right, bro. Yeah, we'll see you. Okay, goodbye, bro.
Adopt me, adopt me. Yeah, tell your mom I said hi. How many times was that? Oh, each time you play there's a different song. Cause I think the other one is might be Car Wash. Oh no, only features.
Excuse me, coming through.
You hate me? What were you trying to say? What were you trying to say? I didn't even get to see it before the bot killed you. Hold up. Is that a sandwich? What's up there? Oh, a pearl. You can't say that. You can't say that word. Alright, we need to go to Sykes, I think is next. Oh, and there's one over there. There's a mission over there too. What is this one? Hi.
Hey there, Sparky. I got a proposition for you.
Mother, I like the
Better be
fuck.
good. I got some important things.
He's looking for MILFs.
I like you, kid. You got the spunk. Fish like you could get famous if he was fast enough to win a race on my underground track. You interested?
How famous?
Real famous. Just cost a couple of clams, a couple 35s.
We're gonna give you 1,000 followers. Entered a race for 35 clams. Shout out to your mother. Ayo, ayo, ayo. Let me clear my throat.
And
Hold
now
on.
for sports. The Underground Sewer Surfers competition welcomes race fans and thrill seekers of all breathing methods.
My cat is so
The
cute.
goal,
He's rolled
get
over
to
on
the
his
finish line
back,
before
showing
anyone
me his
else.
tummy.
If you're not sure which direction to go, just follow the handy signs or your swifter competition. Good luck and happy not crashing.
Just follow the person in front of
Special
you.
bulletin. It appears these lightning bolts are speed boosts. Hit them, and they'll shoot you forward with sickening but legal velocity.
But legal.
It's a great way to stay ahead of the pack. All racers with urchins in their possession have been cleared by local authorities to throw them at other fish to slow them down.
Just fuck him over.
I guess that's why they call it underground.
All right,
The
folks, let's
merchants,
cut to the chase. 3,
urchins have the worst lives in this game.
1, go!
Watch yourself.
Oh, there's no like groovy music or anything. I thought there'd be something cool. Damn, they suck
When we
ass.
say underground, we mean underground.
I mean, I don't even see my competition at this point. I think I'm winning. I think I might be a winner.
Woo! You could just smell the excitement.
I don't even need to like cheat.
Betting is now closed. You want to lose your money? Wait for the next one. When we
Oh,
say
there's multiple
underground,
laps. Okay.
We mean underground.
Underground. This game is funny. That isn't me like harping on it. I do think it's really goofy. Oop, there we go. No. They're gonna catch up to me now.
Think you're the fastest fish in Reef City? Put your money where your mouth is and sign a release form. Whales need not apply.
Why? Why not whales? The writing is really good. It's they put in a bunch of
Now
jokes in
close.
this.
You want to lose your money? Wait for the next one.
They're kind of funny. They put in their DreamWorks jokes in this. Ooh.
Remember, Tuesdays is ladies' night.
Uh-oh. 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 Uh-oh.
When we say underground, we mean
Uh-oh.
underground.
My computer. My keyboard. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Oh, shit. That guy's in front of me. Where'd he go? Oh, man. I can't see him. There he is. Hey, you.
Unbelievable.
There you go.
Someone's been hit with a sea urchin. Folks, anything goes. Ha! This is awesome.
There you go.
And we have a winner!
Yay!
He's fast, he's furious, he's yellow! And he's standing
Yella?
right over there.
Asuka!
Oscar!
Umaye! Asuka! Umaye! I missed it, but did you do the car washing mini game? No, I got soft locked when I was a kid and only played up until the stealth mission, and then I stopped playing. Shit. All right, now we need to find Sykes because Sykes has a mission for us. I don't remember where he is. What's over here? It's the apartment. He's like higher up somewhere. Is there something down here? Okay, it's just money. God, we're so rich with our $95. Is it really just $1 that we find on the floor? Yeah. There he is. Sykes! Are you ready? Oh, I don't know if I'm ready. I need to pet my cat first. Hi, handsome. You're so cute. I love you so much. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Well, if it isn't the coolest boss ever.
Not now, Oscar. I got way too much on my mind. I gotta skip town for a while, but a lot of fish here owe me some serious money. I can't just leave it lying around.
All right, try this on.
That's not his voice
I'll go get
actor.
your money for you, and then we talk.
You think that I'm gonna trust you with thousands and thousands of clams?
Yes?
Yeah?
All right, you talk me into it. But only if you help me first. You better bring me at least 50 bags before time runs out or you're finished. Got it? Fish sticks.
Hey, it's me. What could happen? Okay, I gotta grab enough money bags before time runs out, or Sykes is gonna kill me.
I think maybe I just did progress past the part where I got soft locked when I was a kid. That's so funny if true. I was just trying to collect every money bag instead of just running from my problems. I love the gif of the puffer shit. Oh, the one where he like looks at the screen.
That's about half of them.
I need to collect every single one of them. Like no errors or anything. How much time do I have left? Oh, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good on time. People just leave their shit out here, huh? I'm not surprised. I lived in the ocean.
Almost done.
I'm just surprised. I haven't seen it in a while.
Cool. That's enough money bags for Sykes. Maybe I can grab some extras before time runs out.
Oh, okay. Just steal. Just take it. So do I profit from this? He's like, good job putting in the extra muscle, getting more of them. You're getting jack shit. I swear so much. So this is another reason why I can't let my father see my streams. Papa mine would be so disappointed in how much I swear. Not actually, he'd probably think it's funny. I've never heard you say fuck before, and you say it every minute on your streams. Was that all of them? I think that might be all of them. No. Oh, there's one.
Hey, Sykes, here's
Sykes!
your money.
Whew. Huh. Well, this looks like all of it.
What? Did I tell you? It's me.
Random
You're
shrimp.
all right, Oscar. So tell me about this seahorse. Lucky day, is it?
Yeah, we're gonna get mad bucks on it.
And in sporting and comical
Oh, let me move my cursor.
The pride of Davy Jones's ranch, Seahorse Lucky Day tripped and spilled to the turf in the home stretch of the Reef City Derby, squandering a 7-length lead in the process. Track officials are confident no foul play was involved. Circuit spokesman Brillo McGillicuddy was quoted as saying,
It's no big deal. Fish trip all the time.
on a lighter note, in the aftermath of the race, a number of unlucky bettors seemed noticeably upset.
Oscar, you moron! I'm gonna make you wish you were never hatched, you pathetic algae-sucking bottom feeder!
Some less savory
Oh my
elements in the
God.
crowd even grew unruly as one poor loser was pummeled senseless by a pair of surly jellyfish and reportedly later dragged out to the wastelands outside of Reef City. Track officials remain confident
Ooh,
no foul
Musume
play
and
was
my
involved.
Shark Tale?
He had it coming.
Come on, guys. I'm good for the money. You can tell Sykes I'll get it. Soon. He'll believe anything. Just between us, he's not that bright.
Oh, it's too late for that, me boy. You and us is going to party.
All right. If that's how you want it, we'll do this the hard way.
Here.
I call this my shrieking wombat style.
Did you ever see that picture of the seahorse in SpongeBob as an Uma? What?
Scares me just thinking
No,
about it.
post that somewhere.
Good choice, boys. I didn't want to hurt you any more than you wanted to be hurt. I'm a lover, not a hurt.
From what I understand, DreamWorks, when they
I don't know if I'm
made
cut
these
out for
games,
this,
they
Frankie,
let the
but
companies
I don't like
have the
eating fish.
models
What's it
from the
gonna take
movie.
to make a shark out of you? We eat fish.
I sent it
that's
to
what
you.
we do.
Okay, I don't have
Big.
Discord open
Hey,
because my computer
what's
might
that?
explode, but I will open it after stream.
Hey, guys. Now that we've established who's boss, I could use a little help with the untying and all.
Look, it's
Guys,
like a TV dinner. You think you can handle that, Lenny? Make Dad proud for once?
Sure, Frankie. Whatever you say.
Okay, I'll get back to the reef, pick up my paycheck. Wait, I got no job, no apartment, and I'm tied to a rock in the middle of the desert. Now all I need is a shark! Ah!
No, wait, don't panic. I'm not gonna eat you.
Lenny looks
I'll eat
different.
you.
Oh, okay, we're gaming. Okay.
And he keeps on coming.
Here
Fishy, fishy, fishy.
Let him go.
Hits his head and he keeps on coming.
Alright guys, for clarification, this is all new territory for me. I did not make it past that stealth mission as a kid. I guess I was just trying to play the game fairly. And actually like do the stealth parts instead of like just running. Oh, what?
I don't know. This don't feel like a fair fight.
Why was that a bowling sound effect?
Bada boom! You see that, Lenny? Hey, watch out for that thing!
Ranch.
See that, Len? That's bringing a shot.
Ooh.
And he keeps on coming.
Careful, Frank. That doesn't look sanitary.
When does he die? Movie spoilers, I'm sorry. When does he die? Surely soon. Look at all that radioactive stuff he's eating. Lunch. Lunch. I thought he was saying lunch. Is how to tell you're grown up at the age of 60. You guys are just putting out numbers at this point. She's 60, she's 80, she's 50.
Hey, slow down, you stupid fish. I ain't gonna hurt you. Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Totally painless.
Frankie! Frankie! Say something, Frankie!
Lenny looks different.
You are such a moron.
Now I've done it. Pop's gonna kill me.
That's so fucking funny. He doesn't even get to mourn him. He just like
Yeah,
stupid
that's right.
looks
Try
away.
to eat me. Didn't know who you were messing with, did you? Well, I showed you. Nobody eats me without permission. Not gonna make that mistake twice.
What?
Cause I'm like, wham, pow, kathump. And he's like,
What?
no, not the kathump. So I'm all, how about a little on the ba-dam? Ha ha! Give it up for the Shark Slayer. Woo!
I thought the jellyfish came back and like found him like that, and that's what happened.
Katie Current here with the latest in unavoidable exposition. A local fish named Oscar has just defeated a shark. And that's right, a great
Unavoidable
white shark
exposition.
in hand-to-hand combat. Oscar, the fish of the city have begun calling you the Shark Slayer.
Yeah, I thought the
What does
jellyfish
that
came
make you
back.
feel?
Well, Katie, I slay sharks. That's my job. I mean, what else would they call me?
Were you scared?
Scared? That's a good one, Katie. The shark didn't even know what hit him. I was like, you want to eat me? Come here, big guy. I got a snack for you.
Why are we like underground?
Eloquent. Now, about this shark you slew, aren't you concerned that his father Lino and his army of fearsome enforcers might seek revenge?
His father, Lino? The Lino? The, most powerful shark in Reef City. You know what? I think I smell a shark around here somewhere. Gotta go kick him a few times. I'll see you later.
You heard it here first, folks. Oscar the Shark Slayer is going to confront Lino and his goons head on.
That was Lino's son? Now every shark in the ocean's gonna be after me. I gotta find a place to lay low for a bit.
Sorry, I was muted. I needed to put back on my clothes because it's getting cold.
Somewhere. That sounds like just what the doctor ordered. Behind those gates, maybe.
Is this another stealth mission?
Pull that switch.
What? I took off my clothes because I was sweaty earlier, so I put them back on because I started getting cold. I was nervous earlier and tired. Is this another stealth mission? No, where are we?
Ah! The gates are on a timer? And why can't sneaking into places be easy anymore?
Damn.
I can't go back now.
Oh my god, this is a stealth mission. The Barracudas are here.
This tuft of kelp is a safe zone. If you hide inside, no one can see you.
Okay. Okay, there are safe zones now. Cool, cool. What are these sparkles? What the? Is it gone? Oh, it's just sparkles because it's a safe area. Okay. Is that electricity? Ooh. Ooh. Fuck. Just run, just run. Oh, I don't even know where I'm supposed to run. Uh-oh. Is there like a button somewhere? This. Do the button. Do the button. And add the Bugs Life and PS1. I don't have a PS1. I don't know what happens in Bugs Life. I think there's like a war between the ants and the wasps. Locusts? But I didn't fully understand what happened in it whenever I watched it. How am I supposed to know these produce electricity? I guess because they have nails in them. What is this? It's a child-friendly version of Seven Samurai. I also have not seen Seven Samurai. I'm uncultured, I'm sorry. Oh wait, am I thinking of ants? Huh? I almost triggered like a barracuda to chase me. Maybe I'm thinking of ants. What is Bug Life about? Hello Celio, welcome in. How are you doing today? Welcome, welcome. Celio, how are you doing? We're playing... Okay, we're playing fucking Shark Tale. I played this game as a kid. And I wanted to play it for my birthday. Hold on. Do this. Do this. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Oop, that's the wrong button. Why is the chat like that? Hold on. It's not supposed to be like that. Where am I? There we go. And the chat isn't supposed to be like that. But hello and hello, hello. I'm Umai, a such like a VTuber. And I'm not tending to the shop and playing games, hanging out with friends, drawing, and doing my best and good vibes everywhere. Hope we all had a good stream, and if you guys need to go to bed, or we need to go eat dinner, please means go do it, okay? Let me fix this real quick, and then let me say hello to everyone. Do this, do this, do this. There we go. Now it's over there. Hello Bdizzle, welcome in. Hello Zinbasa, welcome in. Hello Celia, welcome in. Hello Damon, welcome in. Hello Bronchi, welcome in. Hello Alpaca, welcome in. And then thank you Seaside Poltergeist for the follow. Thank you for conversion. I look forward to doing business with you. Welcome, welcome. Celio's not allowed to watch ads. Good. Keep everyone out of ad jail. Sebastian, the whale washing dolphin. We have not gotten to that part yet. I actually, oh, my BGM. There you go. I played this game when I was a kid, but I got soft locked a little bit from this one part in the game. Hold on. Where is... I guess that's fine. Cheers for the party, lady. Thank you. I'm going to go eat my deep fried Oreos after this. But there's a part in this game that I got soft locked on, and that part of the game is the whole reason why I hate stealth mission games. But we cleared it. Apparently I just needed to run, and when I was a kid, I tried to play the game properly and like actually do stealth. But I should have just ran. Hello Carlito, welcome in. How are you doing today? I do my best to keep people out of jail. So if I do a crime and my bail is a little bit too high for me, you'll help with that, won't you? Ad jail specifically. So adult jail time. I have 767 hooks. I don't think that's going to be enough to get me out of jail for the crimes that I'm going to commit. But if anyone needs to go to bed or go eat dinner or anything, please let's go do it, okay? You're playing Shark Tale. Hold on. I'm here. The chat is over there. At some point, I'm going to like fix the overlay so that whenever I transition between everything, I don't need to like click everything. Turn this off. There you go. And then I do this. And then I think it was this one. There you go. Am I would get arrested for public indecency? No, I'm thinking of money laundering. You know, something financial. Is this the way I'm supposed to go? Wait, hold on. I came from that area. Okay. Is there a switch that I need to go to? We're at another stealth mission part. But at least they gave you safe places this time. Okay. Wait, no. There's a thing over there. So I need to go inside of that. Okay. Where's the Barracuda? Oh, the gate went down. What? Okay. Is it not actually supposed to go down? Is that it? This game low-key kind of good. Fuck. Okay. Wait. Hold on. What? No, I'm in here. I'm safe. Am I getting arrested for being way too kind and sweet? Oh, that's so nice to think about. Just taking that electricity. I can't... There's no, like, indicator when it comes up and down. I think we're good now. I don't hear the scary music anymore. Actually, no, it is still active. I'm just gonna go. Okay. There's one up there. Ooh, that one came close. I don't see another safe spot. How does that electricity maintain a direct arc while submerged underwater? How are there clothes underwater? Like Sykes had laundry. You don't see me. I think we're out. I think we're clear. Nope. Okay. There's no hiding spot down here. Let me in. Is that the way we're supposed to go? Oh wait, there's probably a switch somewhere. Hold on, let's see what's over here. Okay, yeah, there's a switch somewhere that I need to hit. Where is it though? Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Where am I? Underwater. Where? It's dark. Underwater. Oh. Maybe. Oop, hacks. Yeah, I was just too good at the game. I am scared. It's okay, water's all around us. And I love water. I'm a sea creature, so this is a-okay for me. Oh, I can still... Okay. Oh, I can move the camera. Oh, things are just vanishing. Okay. That's so fucking funny. Where? Okay. I guess I hit out of bounds. I'm not aquatic. I mean, I said that I would help. I didn't say that I could guarantee your safety. Where's the switch? About to say earlier, happy birthday, Mike. Thank you, Silent Ghost. The map unloading while you're playing the game. I don't see a switch anywhere. The Barracuda almost saw me. Do you guys see a switch anywhere? Invisible ceilings everywhere. It was right there. Because I see the gate over there. But I don't see a switch anywhere. You were toxic to the touch. The idea of you offering assistance does little to alleviate my concerns. I mean, I didn't say I would touch you. I mean, helping you could just be hiring someone. No, 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 no. Yeah, that's right. Turn around, stupid. Where's the... Maybe I'm stupid. Hold on. Yeah, because I need the thing to open. Money. Oh, I didn't get it. Okay, I think it was around this corner that I accidentally unloaded everything. Would the switch be all the way back here? Fuck. Did you guys see it? I'm like Dora the Explorer now. Do you see it? Do you see the switch? What if we go over here? Okay, no, that's also a ceiling. So is it past this electricity maybe? Okay. I'm going to alert, so I'll say it again. Happy birthday, Mike. I hope you had and will continue to have a great day. Hope you eventually get that massage. Yeah, I think the more I talk about that place, the more I'm like, I think I will just go somewhere else. And hope that they're not like as weird. I mean, there's a difference between health conscious and like selling incense and like specific things. I mean, there's nothing wrong with incense. It was just like, would be dope. Oh man, no, I don't need a chiropractor. Chiropractors kind of scare me. I just want like a deep tissue massage. They're right there. Look, I'm in here. I'm in here. You can't get me. I thought there was electricity over here. This shit long. No! I was safe! I was safe!
How you like my new Barracuda suit?
I'm trying to sell you more. Yeah, it was like the massage services were one of the other services that they had. They had several other services that were... It's getting bad out there? Okay. Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was something else and not just, you know, a normal massage place. No, I'm in here. I'm in here. You can't get me. Oh, there's a pearl. Money. Is there a switch somewhere? There's no indication of when the electricity goes on at all. Your massage retaining places? No, this place had like a bunch of medical things. Just go, just go.
Okay, this kelp bed is nice and dark. No shark's gonna find me here. Except maybe that one. Ah! Please don't eat me!
Oh.
Okay, stop it, would you? I'm a vegetarian.
Oh, whoa, I know you. You're the shark I met in the wasteland. You tried to eat me.
I was trying to save you.
Okay.
I'm not big and tough like the other sharks. Nobody likes me, and now I got Frankie killed.
Everybody I know thinks I killed your brother. Now they expect me to fight every other shark in the ocean. I just wish I knew how to slay a shark.
Yeah, well, I just wish I could disappear.
Hey, are you thinking
What I'm thinking?
A backflip off of a building? Yeah. Fame plus 100. Yay! We are zooming through this movie.
Okay, here's the plan. We'll stage a big fake fight in the middle of town. You make yourself look real scary and then take a dive. Everybody will think you're dead, and I'm a hero.
I don't know, Oscar. You might be a little famous, but I don't think you're famous enough to pull off a stunt like that.
Not famous enough?
You don't have enough followers.
Exactly how famous do I need to be?
You need to be like
You need to
Mr.
make
Beast
some more
famous.
friends. Advertise yourself. You know, once you got some more fame, then come back here and we'll fight.
Yeah, all
Really?
right, I get it. Just stay here so nobody sees you. I'm not famous. I'll show you famous.
That's so funny. Yeah, you're famous, but you're just not there yet. You have 10K, but I need you to be at 100K. What's this? Ooh, bouncy. Stingy. Finding Jumbo. I love the billboards. Oh, this is in the thumbnail for the birthday stream of the New York Times Square billboards. Oh, there's the sexy one. Vanilla Cola. The Hook. Coca-Cola. Southside. I feel the fame stat, it might be arbitrary. I don't think you can check the fame stat either. Secrets found. Whale Watch, Furniture Bot, Penthouse. I haven't found any secrets. I wonder what the secrets are. Do you guys think we should end stream here and maybe play more Shark Tale? You guys would love me to play more Shark Tale, right? Right? I'm making my spine tingle. They're not good. I think individually they're good, but they're like something weird. I don't know. It's like, oh cool. It just sounds obnoxious. Yeah, it's how they're like together like that. But yes, maybe we play more Shark Tale. I thought that Stealth Mission was harder when I was a kid, but I was a kid back then, so so maybe I can actually beat this game. Maybe I can beat this game in one stream because it seems pretty easy. Despite the fact that this game was the game that made me hate stealth missions for my entire life. What's this? Oh, it's my girlfriend. Hi. Yes, we will end stream here. Let us go back to the normal. There's 2 of me. And there's 2 of chat. And then let me do this. This. There we go. Those stealth missions seemed easier when you don't even engage with most of the stealth mechanics and then just gun it. Yeah, I was trying to play it properly when I was a kid. I was like, I'm gonna do my best and get all of the money, which is another part. I was trying to get all of the money and I didn't need to. Okay. But in any case, let us see who we can raid into. And then I will be posting more stuff today and tomorrow. Stuff about, oh, I guess I can do like a little rundown of everything. There will be an art giveaway. This is early art of the giveaway. I will be doing a giveaway next week sometime. I have a, where is it? Reference sheet. I have a reference sheet that I posted to Twitter and Blue Sky already. I updated, where is it? Where are the sub badges? Yeah, I've updated sub badges. I'm going to be doing Ring Fit streams in the future. Everyone who has bought a throne gift, please let me know what character or VTuber you would like added to my Tomodachi Life game, so that when I play it, I add your character in. I'm going to be working on an intro video at some point. I have merch coming up with Hovercat and possibly stocking other merch. Fan merch is paused. Going through like my list of stuff that I need to talk about. Bay will be our cat boy will be receiving a mascot version of himself that will get a model and will be on stream. If you'd like to join the Discord, it is here. I think it would be funny if we watch Shark Tale. I think whenever we play it next, we watch Shark Tale too. I want to watch Scary Movie at some point too. If you'd like to follow me in my socials, they are here. Excuse me. Thank you for celebrating my birthday with me. I really appreciate it. Again, I don't know what to say besides thank you. It's like, thank you so much. I'm just like bowing my head like, thank you. Or I tapped back into Shark Tale. Hold on, there you go. Just thank you. Thank you all for your hard work, for staying with me, for the gifts, for another year. Oh, and then again, what is it? Is it this? Not that. Where is it? This. Again, the next time I have a birthday, it will be on January the 17th instead of my actual birthday, because it's very difficult to actually do IRL things outside of the store. I'm outside of the shop with like family or friends instead. Yeah, because I don't actually get to celebrate. I mean, I get to celebrate my birthday on stream, and I get to work on things for stream, and that's fine. But I don't actually get to like relax, if that makes sense, and do things with my family or anything. Like this year, I was working on assets and stuff for this stream, so I didn't actually, besides eating food and stuff, I didn't actually get to do anything. So I'm going to be moving it to a different day. Thank you for over the 4 years of relaxing fun streams. Thank you for watching. You can't see me, but I'm pointing at my screen. And I'm petting Hanson. I think that was everything. That's true, you can make it whenever. All the bumpers and assets are great. Thank you. This is still a work in progress. Again, this model, sorry, this artwork, I should say. It's not finished yet. I need to finish it either later tonight or tomorrow. And then we have Am I the Asshole stream tomorrow. And then I'm going on break because I want to sleep. I want to sleep a little bit and relax a little bit. I put so much effort in those details. I'm glad you guys liked it. But let us go find someone to read into. Let's see. Since I can't talk. Since we are having a Comfy stream, let us go raid Comfy. He is playing Bokopia. A Comfy game. I sleep now. Good night, everyone. Bye. Goodbye, KG. Join the raid, though. Don't leave it. Join the raid. Say our little raid message, and then you can sleep. Whips you. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. I will join the raid. Yay. Thank you. Because we are going to go raid Comfy. He is a cute cat boy who also has Comfy streams as per his name. But thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a good day, good night, good morning. Just have a good time, okay? I'll see you guys later. Bye. 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 Bye.